Hello, students, instructors, masters, members of the American Taekwondo Association. Chief Master Bill Babin here. Today, I'd like to share with you a really special story about a really special man. I know you're all thinking about Eternal Grandmaster Hang Lee, but it's really important to also know his brother, Soon Ho Lee. So, I was in the organization way back in the 70s when it first got started, and I knew Eternal Grandmaster very well. And when he got sick in the year 2000, it was an absolute shock to everyone. And of course, he made his transition in October of that year, and it was a frightening time for all of us because we just couldn't see our way to go on. And even though Eternal Grandmaster knew he was very ill, and he did try to make plans for the transition to keep the organization together and create guidelines and protocols, it was still extremely, extremely difficult. And into that void, into that huge emptiness, into that incredible pair of shoes, steps one amazing person, Soon Ho Lee. My story today focuses a few years later, and this occurred in 2004. So at that time, I was getting ready to become a senior master instructor, had attained 7th degree black belt in 2003, and we were all in Vegas for the Spring National Masters workout. And of course, that involved some time out in the desert, in a place that has now become a standard for all masters training. That's called Red Rocks National Park, I believe. Well, there was only 6 of us in this group, and we went out there and we hiked up to this place called Turtle Peak, which is a place everybody goes now. And it's, even though it's in a length measurement, it's only like 5 miles or something like that, or less than that. Vertically, it's like 4,000 or 6,000 feet. And it's really, really an incredibly difficult hike. And so we're, climbing up there using the old black belt warrior spirit. And of course, Grandmaster Soon Ho is leading the way, and we make it. I mean, there isn't any choice not to make it, right? So we make it to the top, and we all sit down and open up our backpacks. It's freezing up there, and it is a true, complete peak. So you can see 360 degrees in every direction from the top. It's very, very windy, and we're exhausted and frozen and hungry. And we all just pick a rock, sit down, and start having our lunch. Well, we noticed that Grandmaster Soon Ho kind of goes off to the side, and he carefully picks out an area that's kind of flat, and he moves the rocks to flatten it out, and we're all just kind of sitting down going, oh, what is he doing? What is he doing? And it just becomes pretty interesting. He starts taking stuff out of his backpack, and he lays out a little bamboo thing, which kind of reminds me of how they wrap sushi rolls. And then he takes out some, it looks like paper, later on we find out it's rice paper. And he's got a few rocks, and he weighs the paper down with these rocks so that it's pretty much of a flat surface, and this very, very thin paper is now being held in place by these rocks. And then he gets out these beautiful brushes and an inkwell, and he starts drawing. And so, we're going, well, we're just resting, and it's like he's pretty busy. So as long as he's busy, that means we get to rest. So we'll just let him do whatever it is he's doing. And but, we can't resist. We get up, we go over there, and we see that he's doing these beautiful calligraphy. We really don't know what it is, but it's calligraphy, black ink on rice paper. And so he just keeps on going, and I didn't even notice that he was apparently doing several pieces, and he was picking them up, rolling them up, and storing them back in his backpack somehow. So time goes by, and he says it's time to go, get back. So we get ourselves together and head back down the hill, and we make it. It's an all-day treacherous expedition, but when you're in the company of Sangha masters, everything is almost perfect. And I can't thank those people who were with me on that trip enough for the honor to be there with you. And so we get to a restaurant, and again, we're just exhausted and hungry, and we start eating, and at some point he asks us to stop and takes out his backpack, and he pulls out of the backpack a piece of rice paper. And again, we don't know what's going on, but it's a piece of rice paper that he's been working on. He was working on it at the top of the mountain at Turtle Peak. And he gave each one of us, he made one of these for each one of us. And it says victory at Turtle Mountain. And unfortunately, I can't remember what this says here, this smaller piece, but the big letters are victory at Turtle Mountain. And, this hangs in my office where I'm at right now, and it will always be there as a way for me to cherish that moment and all that it meant, a victory, hiking up this crazy place, an amazing victory in the comradeship of fellow masters and led by one of the most iconic martial artists of the 20th century, a man named Soon Ho Lee. So, sir, I really appreciate what you did for me, all that you did for me, in that you trained me from the point where I became a master to the point where I became a chief master. And I'm grateful to that. And you'll find another video attached to this blog, which is the tribute to Grandmaster Soon Ho Lee. And in it, I'm interviewed where I talk a little bit about the sidekick. So thank you all for being a part of ATA. It's the most noble endeavor you can pursue, to become a black belt, and of course, to become a master as well. Until next time, I'm Chief Master Babin.